Hi guys, this is Ashley, personal trainer and weight loss coach. Today we are going to talk about how exercise impacts your immune system. So I know I just did a video not too long ago about how we can boost our immune system. And one of the points I talked about was, of course, exercise. But today we're going to specifically go deeper into that. We're going to talk about what is it about exercise that actually impacts your immune system? How does that work? And then we're going to look at some research studies to see really what research says to support this. And then we're going to talk about how you can actually apply it to help boost your own immune system. So before we get into that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so. I post new videos every Tuesday and every Friday. So if you don't want to miss out, make sure to subscribe and click the little bell button as well. And that way it'll notify you when I update. And make sure to hit the like button too. So getting into the material, we're going to first talk about how does exercise actually impact your immune system. So in general, how does this work? How does exercise actually help or harm your immune system? How does that work? What's going on? So basically, when you exercise, you are causing your muscles and your body stress. Your body feels like it's definitely going through something. It is not at rest, right? Your heart rate speeds up. Your blood circulates faster. So while you're exercising, you're getting this increase in blood flow, and your body starts to secrete, putting out more white blood cells. It puts out more antioxidants as well if it can. Just different things that happen while you exercise, basically to deal with a response to the stress you're putting it under by exercising. So I know that can be a bit confusing because we hear that if we want to boost our immune system, we should not, stress ourselves, right? Stress will decrease your immune system. But when it comes to exercise, putting your body under that moderate to mild amount of stress will actually help it to get blood circulating better, get more white blood cells circulating around the body, increasing antibodies. It'll increase antioxidant flow, different things that will help your body to fight off any kind of bacteria or anything going on with your immune system. So that's why they say exercise will actually boost your immune system. All those things that will happen if you are sick or about to become sick, your immune response to that actually begins to occur when you exercise. So it kind of gives you a jump start on that while you're still in a healthy state, just getting a lot of good things circulating through your body to help clean up any little bacteria here, little thing there that might be threatening to get you sick. So it's more of a preventative thing. This isn't necessarily something you want to do if you're already sick, but as a preventative measure, if you're regularly exercising, it can definitely help your body to have a good response when you begin to get sick. We know that exercise can actually reduce the stress hormone in the body. That's why if you're feeling stressed out about your work life, your home life, sometimes a really good workout, sweating it out, actually helps you to feel better. Exercise actually reduces stress hormones. It can also reduce inflammation in the body, and it can increase circulation for antibodies, things like that, getting around your body. So exercising itself, that physical act of going to the gym, getting a workout in, going for a jog, doing some sort of exercise, even if it's only 20-30 minutes, can actually begin the process of boosting your immune system and make a difference. To further this point, in 2018, there was actually a study done on over 1,400 people. The study was conducted in China, but what they found was people that exercised at least 3 times a week were actually 26% less likely to get the common cold when compared to the average person. And there's a lot of different studies like this where they'll look into, a sedentary group versus a group that exercises regularly, and time after time, the percentages may vary based on what workouts were done, the people that were used in the study. But in general, people that exercise on a regular basis tend to get sick a lot less than people that are sedentary and not regularly exercising. What we're going to look into today are a few different studies out there that are going to clarify how much exercise you should be getting in order to boost the immune system without hurting it, At what point does it become harmful and actually start to hurt your immune system? And then what you should really be doing at home right now to boost your immune system, exercise at a good rate so that you are seeing the best results, but not putting yourself at risk of getting sick. So we'll dive right into that. I read up on several different studies when making this video to get an idea of what the research says, what's going on out there. I particularly want to speak to some things related to COVID-19, to what's going on with that and what research is showing in terms of exercise and this condition. And I will link below the articles that I used for this information as well, so that if you want some light reading, you can look at those as well. But let's get into more detail of the research behind why exercise can be helpful, but also that point at which it becomes harmful for your immune system. In short, moderate exercise has just time and time again been proven to be really beneficial for your immune system. Now, when it comes to overtraining, that's where we get into dangerous waters. But when it comes to moderate exercise, every single study that I've seen out there shows that it's definitely helping, it's beneficial, you should definitely keep doing it. There are studies that specifically reference it to acute respiratory disorders, things about heart disorders, kidney function, just all sorts of things that if you exercise moderately, you will see beneficial results for your body in general, in multiple organs, multiple diseases, multiple things, just trying to prevent it. So it definitely helps. And we're talking about it as a preventative measure, boosting the immune system, not once you're already sick. Of course, that's a whole different thing. Most of these studies are looking into exercise and how it can help us to prevent falling ill. Now, moderate exercise is typically recommended because moderate exercise is just enough to help you to get that circulation we're looking for, to reduce inflammation, reduce the stress hormones. You're getting all of those kinds of benefits from the exercise, but you're not putting yourself at risk of injury. As we know right now, there's a bit of a pandemic going on. It is not a good time to have to go to urgent care or the ER. So we want to stay out of those kind of places. We don't need any injuries right now. So definitely make sure to exercise at a pace at which you're comfortable, which you're used to. We don't want to overtrain. We don't want to go too hard and risk hurting ourselves and then having to go to the ER, which is already full of people and you don't need to be there right now. But also, we don't want to overtrain because the studies have shown that overtraining time and time again will definitely deplete or lower your immune system. There have been studies done with the 2018 Winter Olympics team. The Finnish team actually did a study to see the immune system of their athletes and how they responded within a 21-day period around the Olympics. And they found that a lot of their competitors actually did fall sick because, of course, they're trying to perform at their elite best at that moment. So that's definitely putting a lot of stress on their bodies and a lot of requirement for them to perform at the highest level. The 2018 Finnish Winter Olympics team actually saw that 45% of their athletes had common cold-like symptoms and fell sick within a 21-day period around the Winter Olympics. 45% is a really high number for people to get a common cold to fall ill. Now, the thing about these studies that are testing how overtraining affects the body, there is some confounding evidence there because if you are studying this overtraining, we're typically looking at elite level athletes. So they study things like Winter Olympic competitors, ultra marathon runners, people like this that are competing at a really intense endurance high level. And the problem is these kind of events also tend to, draw a large crowd. If you're going to study cyclists in the Tour de France, there's crowds of people watching them. So there's a lot more chances of exposure to germs. Same thing with the Winter Olympics. You're in a foreign country a lot of the time. You're surrounded by people from all over the world. Your chances of getting a little germ are higher than they would usually be as it is. But what they have found is definitely overtraining in general will deplete the immune system. What they think it is actually that as you're training at that high level, the glycogen stores in your body will be depleted. Now, glycogen is what your body uses for energy. And that energy goes into everything. That's the energy you use to digest your food, to walk, to do just everything and anything. So if that glycogen store is depleted, now if you catch a little germ that your body would usually just fight off easily, it doesn't quite have the energy to fight it off as well, and so you may actually fall sick. This is kind of the logic behind why the overtraining is depleting your immune system and making it more difficult for you to have a good response and have a strong immune system so that you don't get sick. One study I read this week that really caught my attention was particularly about COVID-19 and how exercise may actually be beneficial for those who are trying to prevent COVID-19. They're looking at it as a potential treatment, but not necessarily forcing people to exercise, but more trying to stimulate the effect that happens in the body caused by the exercise. So basically these researchers and scientists found that there is a certain antioxidant that our muscles naturally secrete that really helps with immune system response, and it particularly helps in regards to things related to the respiratory system. So one of the major dangerous things about COVID-19 is that acute respiratory distress syndrome is something that can set in as the illness progresses into the lungs and respiratory system. If a patient develops the acute respiratory distress syndrome, ARDS, then they are more at risk of having a lot of complications, more at risk of it being fatal, things like that. So what they wanted to study was this particular antioxidant that's secreted by the body called ECSOD. If we increase that, we know that typically it does help people to not have as many acute respiratory problems. And what they found was that if people do cardiovascular exercise, they can actually see their own muscles naturally secrete this particular antioxidant and increase its level. What they found in studies with mice and different ways that they've tested it, if you increase the amount of ECSOD in the system, which stands for, I'm going to check my notes, which stands for extracellular superoxide dismutase. Extracellular superoxide dismutase, ECSOD. When it's increased, you will actually see beneficial results for the lungs, for the cardiovascular system. It also relates to kidney failure, and things related to the kidneys, osteoarthritis, just a whole lot of different things that when this particular antioxidant is increased in the body, you tend to have better organ response, and most importantly for this study, respiratory symptoms, things like that, you tend to have a better response, a boost for it when this is lacking in the body. So if you have someone that's leading a very sedentary life for whatever reason, whatever's going on in their life, they are low in ECSOD, then they tend to have things like kidney failure, respiratory issues, lung issues, heart issues, different things going on. So what they're studying is there a way that we could perhaps, for patients that have COVID-19, be able to increase their ECSOD in their body so that way they will be less likely to develop the acute respiratory distress syndrome, which is a major factor leading towards the fatalities with this illness. So all of this to tell you basically that exercising is definitely good for you, and makes your body do a lot of things that are good for you, and if you do it, then you will have a better immune system and you will not get as sick as other people. So definitely make sure that you're exercising at least at a moderate rate. Here is my 2 cents on moderate. When reading these studies, they all say, definitely moderate exercise, cardiovascular exercise, things that are going to get your heart rate going, but don't overdo it. Moderate. Some of the articles are specifically saying, like, don't do anything more than walking or yoga, or you're going to stress your immune system out. Others are a little more lenient and saying, like, hey, maybe 30 minutes a day, just don't train more than, 90 minutes a day. It all kind of varies. Different studies are saying different things. Here's my 2 cents. The average person is going to be in a lot different position than, let's say, Simone Biles, the famous gymnast, right? Someone that's operating at that kind of a level, an elite athlete, she's probably training 5, 6, 8 hours a day, and you try to tell her, oh yeah, because of, the pandemic that's going on, just exercise 30 minutes a day because we don't want to stress your body out. Like, that's not going to do anything for her. She's used to so much more. I would say instead, because everyone's at a different level. You watching this, you might be someone that competes in a lot of marathons and you're great at doing endurance running and you can go run 10 miles and that was like a nice jog in the park for you. For someone else, that's just unfathomable and you're like, man, if I can get through a 1-hour yoga class, like that was intense enough for me. People are at different levels. So when you hear someone tell you like, hey, just do moderate exercise, that's going to be relative to you. What I would say is you definitely want to exercise at a place to where your heart rate does get up, to where you do break a sweat, where you feel like you're having a real workout. So you don't necessarily need to reduce yourself to just walking right now just because you don't want to get sick. You can do a little more than that, but what we don't want is overtraining. And overtraining is a different place for different people. So if you've been leading a sedentary life and I tell you to go jog 3 miles, you're going to feel like, oh my God, she's killing me. That's definitely overtraining. To go from couch potato to go run 3 miles, that's overtraining. For someone that's used to doing half marathons all the time, if I tell them go run 3 miles, that's like less than their normal activity. So it's all relative is what I'm trying to say. So find a sweet spot for yourself that you're exercising at, but that you're pretty comfortable. What I would say is if you're feeling sore 2-3 days after exercise, you might be going a little too hard. You want to dial back so that you're feeling like you worked out, but you're not injured, you're not so overly sore to where you're miserable. You may not want to push quite to that point right now, but you definitely want to feel like you worked out, you did something, and I would say being your regular amount of consistent. So you want to do at least 3 workouts a week, and if you're used to doing more than that, you're used to training 5 days a week, keep doing that then, but you may just dial back the intensity a little bit so that your body can recover during this time. You always want to allow time for rest when exercising. That's going to play a big part in how your immune system responds to all this. You need to give your body time to heal, to recoup. That's also a factor in it. So many of the studies that I've looked into, some that will be linked below, some others I've read in the past, do suggest that if you exercise, 2 days, 3 days back to back, about 2-3 days is the most, and then you should give yourself a rest day. If you're a client of mine, I like to promote the active rest day. I don't like to say just go sit on your couch and watch Netflix for a whole day, but instead, active rest is more walk around the neighborhood, do some stretching, foam rolling, yoga, still do something towards your health goals, take some time out for yourself, recharge, but just don't do anything too intensive on that rest day, but do something because you want to build a consistent habit of working towards your health goals. And I think taking that 1 day to sit on the couch sometimes turns into 2 days on the couch, 3 days on the couch. You can be playing with some fire there. So be careful with that. As a whole, the main thing we want to take away is when it comes to exercise, we're definitely seeing a lot more benefit than harm, so long as we're doing it moderately. And moderate, of course, being subjective. And we just don't want to overtrain because then we deplete the glycogen stores and then you fall victim or at risk to becoming sick, like we saw with the Winter Olympics team, like we saw with the study in China. If you exercise regularly, you can actually boost your immune system, but if you go too far and you're doing it at a high level, it will definitely decrease your immune system. So pay attention to those things, but stay healthy, stay active, and it's definitely going to do you more benefit than harm. So if you haven't already, guys, make sure to like the video and subscribe. And I can't wait to get you guys some more information that's going to be a little more tailored to weight loss. But today was just kind of health in general because we all have questions right now about what we should be doing. So I just wanted to clear that up. Check out the links below for the articles I used for this talk. And definitely comment if you have some questions or topic ideas. But as always, I want to thank each of you. Thanks.